This is a documentary on a unique record store called Blackbyrd Myoozik. Located at 10918 88th Ave, it is owned and operated by Arthur Fafard and Mark Davis. Come inside and see a store that caters to a wide variety of musical tastes.
Very professional.
For the duration of this interview, Arthur is on the left and Mark is on the right. Okay, so you're ready now?
We're ready.
So why did you start your own store?
Well, to be our own boss is bosses, our own bosses, yes.
Because you were working in this field before, both of you, weren't you?
Yeah, we just figured that rather than going to work and doing a lot of work for somebody else, we might as well just open up our own place and do the exact same work. And eventually this will all be ours, and I won't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to answer to anybody now except for Arthur, and likewise for him. So we are our own bosses, and that's signing your own checks is kind of a luxury, but
I mean, it gives you control over every aspect of work, but it also has, we're responsible for the lean times as well, but
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And you assume so many more responsibilities and hassles. Whereas before we were working for somebody else who would have to deal with the bankers and the lawyers and the accountants and the landlords. Now we have to do that, so that's the major drawback, I would say.
You're located on the south side, but not on Whyte Ave. Sort of off, a little bit off. You're more near the university. Do you think that that's a benefit or more of a hindrance? Or do you feel that you get a different type of clientele because you're away from Whyte Ave?
Well, we don't have the walk-by traffic that Whyte Avenue has, so that is a little bit of a hindrance, but then there are bonuses to being in this location too, and Whyte Ave is very expensive to rent. I mean, if we were renting an equivalent space, we would probably be paying 3 or 4 times the rent that we're paying now. And also, we're hoping that just being here after a few years, the proximity to the university certainly helps, because we have access to a market of 35, 40,000 people who visit the university every day, students, staff, professors, the like. And we have a good relationship with CGSR too.
And there's a certain amount of clientele that goes to all the record stores, and they go to all the stores in town every week, so they come here. I mean, and they probably spend the majority of the money. There's definitely not money from walk-by traffic, but the people that are really looking for music or different kinds of things will come here no matter what, and that's good. And they appreciate our space as well, and what we've tried to do. So
you are quite different. You have your own image. You always, walking into Southside Sound or something, it is very relaxed, but here it's a bit more different. Do you pride yourself on that sort of different image?
Well, sure, because we wanted to create something that was an expression of our own personalities, right? And what we thought was good from a business perspective, and I think it works. People appreciate what we've tried to do, I think.
Yeah, it was always somewhat embarrassing being the spokespeople for a different store that
when you have no control over when you have no control over what's going on in it, really, ultimately, but you're there, you're the spokesperson, you're behind the counter. Here, what you see is what you get, and we're responsible for it.
We're representing ourselves here rather than somebody else, so obviously we wanted to, like Arthur said, have it to be more of an extension of our own personalities. And it certainly is a bit different. I think it's a lot more spacious and not as in your face as most other record stores, or most of the secondhand stores in town are really junky, But then most of the new stores, the new chain stores, are just hard sell.
The opposite.
Yeah.
Do you have, right now, what do you see in the future, and what would you like to see in the future? There's a loaded question.
What do I see in the future? It'll be a slow build, but I mean, I see us just, continuing along, getting better as time goes on. Business will get better, I would assume. And what I like to see, I'm not really sure. I'm taking a day at a time,
My biggest goal, or the moment that I'm waiting for, is the moment that I can walk into our banker's office and tell him to take a hike, basically, and we're taking our business to another bank, 'cause he's done us no favors, and really...
Why do you think he's done you no favors?
He's judged us. He prejudged us as soon as he saw us, basically, and really didn't give us...
Because of your image? Like,
I would... Yeah.
Laid back?
Appearances, probably, yeah. Yeah, he certainly made a lot of things difficult for us. So I'm looking forward to the 2 years from now. We've been open for 13 months.
What was the date you opened on?
It was mid-December last year.
December 9th, I think, of last year.
93, I suppose that would be.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 13 months, and we have a 3-year plan to pay off our loan, and it's been a year already, so we're a third of the way to owning what we see around us here. So that's
makes
the
you
goal.
happy.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So it keeps me going. Because then it's ours to do with what we want. And then the bank holds nothing over us, basically.
Can you see yourselves doing this in 20 years? I mean, I'm looking at you, and you do have fun in doing it. Do you think you can do this?
In 20 years, no. I mean, I can't foresee 20 years down the road, but no, I won't be doing this 20 years from now. I mean, at some point, you would want to sell the business. I mean, ideally, if it's a going concern, someone who has energy for it. I mean, at some point, it won't be fun anymore, like anything.
Mm.
Yeah. So, I mean, realistically, there's no way.
It might be really unrealistic, but perhaps I'm hoping that I don't have to work in 20 years. Maybe. I mean, if I do have to work in 20 years, it'll definitely be within a similar milieu, I'm sure, involving music. Preferably the promotion of music rather than the sale of music.
We won't be working for a bank in 20 years, though.
Well, I've got no other questions. If you can think of anything else.
I would say that one of the highlights of the year has been presenting music, as I just spoke about. We've presented a good
Variety.
Yeah, a good variety, probably 10 or 12 shows in the last year, ranging from Kathleen Yearwood and the Naked and the Dead.
In the store.
In the store, yeah. Yeah, we just move all the racks. Everything was built really to be portable, so that we could just move everything aside and open the space up to just provide an option to playing at a particular local venue that seems to have a monopoly on alternative live music in this town.
Which we won't name.
Which I
Right.
mean, nameless, yeah.
So we've done, we've got several exciting things coming up. A jazz CD release party. There's a country folk, country metal band, I suppose. I don't know what you'd call them. We've had, like I said, Kathleen Yearwood, Naked and the Dead. The Imagineers have played here. Lester Quitzow has played here twice, once with a saxophone player. That was great. Got lots of things planned for the future.
Then what's your highlight of the year, of this past year?
Highlight of the year?
Business-oriented in the road.
That's hard to say. I don't think there's one highlight. I think just doing it, actually doing it for ourselves and having it in place finally. Because, we had thought about it for quite a long time before it actually happened. So I can't think of any particular highlight. Just probably being open the first month was kind of a...
First day somebody walked through the door and spent $100 on vinyl.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, vinyl is certainly.
All right. Thanks.
Blackbyrd Myoozik, 10918 88th Ave. Phone number 439-1273. Thank you.